Another crucial component of frame control is phone and communication maintenance. A couple components here. One is the things that are said to you. Well, let me back up. Most infidelity that occurs in the digital age has a mobile phone component or an internet-based component. It's overwhelming that a lot of modern affairs are started online. Particularly as a woman gets older and her, quote, standards raise, she will have periods where maybe she wants to have wild animal sex. And there's nothing you can do about that, right? If a girl wants to have a one-night stand, there's not going to be a lot of a digital footprint left. But other than that, anyone that she views as of quality, and especially if she's in a phase where she cares more about not being that type of hookup party girl anymore, the more that there's going to be some kind of digital footprint. Now, the only frame, if you're going to try and have an LTR, is full access to her phone. You should give her full access to yours too. Because again, your frame should be, yeah, I trust you. You can go through it if you want. And frankly, it needs to be a thing where you are, where if you think about it rationally, if there's going to be trust between the two of you, there should be no reason why there's resistance to this. Right? If you have nothing to hide, particularly if the girl wants even more investment from you than you've given her so far, she wants some kind of long-term commitment. She wants to put a ring on it, whatever. Well, first component of the frame here is that trust is not given, it's earned. Only a fool just gives trust. So yeah, if you want to earn my trust, you can give me all the passwords to your phone. It can be that I go on your Instagram and I look at the messages you get and I look at how you respond. It can be that I go into your Facebook and do the same thing. It can be that I read through your text messages. It can be that I can look through your emails if I want. Yes, that is fucking invasive. Yes, that is not politically correct to do. What? You don't trust your woman? How dare you? What a controlling behavior. Yup. Yes, I don't trust my woman. Yes, I don't. I would only trust her. Again, our goal here is to look for the superior woman. And particularly if what a woman is asking of you is long-term monogamy, she's asking you to do something that is unnatural, right? So it's in the same way that if you were to be a vegetarian, you can be a vegetarian, but by default, humans are omnivorous. And so that means that if you were going to choose a lifestyle that was not our default programming, but that was doable, you would have to have certain disciplines in place that the average person would not. So that would mean you probably don't bring meat into your home at all if everyone in it is vegetarian. It means that when you go out to eat, you're asking questions that might be socially slightly annoying for a group dynamic, for example, unless all you hang out with are vegetarians and vegans, and in that case, you're probably terrible. But let's say that you were doing that. You know, there's a social component. You'd have to be disciplined about when you're going out to eat, finding out about the, is there butter on that bread, et cetera, et cetera. So you would have a series of disciplines that would make it so that you do this lifestyle that's otherwise not the human default. And monogamy is the same thing. If a woman is asking you to forego your reproductive strategy, she's asking you to do something unnatural, then the only way for that to be successful is to have a number of unnatural and countercultural set of disciplines that would make that unnatural lifestyle have a greater chance of success. So you are unapologetic about. And if a girl would give you any resistance there, you'd say, well, I would give her, assuming she's got some fraction of a level head, I would give her the just a couple of statistics that are readily available to point to the fact that most infidelity has a digital component nowadays. So if you don't want infidelity and you want trust and you have nothing to hide, then this should not be a problem for you. But if you are keeping your options open, then if you're talking to your woman, saying you're keeping your options open, then I don't think you're actually as ready for monogamy as you say you are. I don't think you really understand what monogamy is and what it means. I don't think you understand that it means that both people are foregoing their natural mating strategies. So that means, yes, you're doing some things that the rest of the world might call controlling, in the same way that a vegetarian is doing things that the rest of the world might call, boring, might call unnecessary. If you're a vegan and you do it for animal rights reasons, they might call it ridiculous because other people don't have that same set of moral principles that you as the vegan have. So if you're with a woman who's demanding monogamy, you have to have the same sort of framework of saying, well, you want to do something exceptional. What are the actions we're going to take that will give us the exceptional result? What exceptional disciplines will we impose upon our relationship to get us the exceptional and countercultural result? So this means that having access to her phone, having access to her accounts is ground zero for that. And then you can start to have some trust for her. Now, the things that you can never counteract is if she's going to go out and if you have this level of control or whatnot, or not control, but you've got this. It's what other people might call controlling, and it's what, frankly, you would just call realistic, and it's none of their business. What you're doing in your personal life, they don't need the explanation. Now, there's still the chance that the woman's going to, she wants to go have a one-night stand. There's nothing you can do about that. There's absolutely nothing you can do. If she wants to go out to a bar, sit at a bar alone, have some Chad come up, buy her a drink, one thing leads to another, she's out on her own, no accountability. There is nothing you can do about that. There's nothing you can do about that. By the way, gentlemen, that's why we should all learn game, right? So that we would have the ability to do that same thing, right? That's the only way that you could emotionally level the playing field, is knowing that you could do the same thing, knowing that you'd have the skill set to go out, and once you saw that girl who was alone at a bar, you would have a high likelihood of being able to capitalize on that. That's the only way that you could walk through the world with a sort of sense of confidence today, right? Is to know that, well, I might not have... but if I want to try and be in a monogamous relationship, I have to forego my strategy. But it's not because I lack the ability to have other options. Anyways, you're not going to be able to do anything if she wants to go philander. Can't do anything about it. Except know that you have your ability to do it yourself, which is a big plus. The other thing is that you'll be able to tell if you check into her accounts and devices regularly. You'll be able to tell. I mean, if she would go to such exceptional lengths to keep things a secret from you, then I mean, what else can you do about that either? You can't do anything about that. If she had a second mobile device hidden in her dresser that was only for this, or she had a second phone number that was disguised by a robo device that was routed through Estonia or something, like, you can't do anything about that. But you can do a lot by monitoring these typical accounts. And so some of the things that you're looking for are, who are the beta males that are trying to keep in touch? Who are the betas in waiting? And frankly, who are her, quote, male friends? Because a lot of the ground zero of the frame here is that No, you don't have any fucking male friends. You want monogamy. Another one of the exceptional disciplines here is you don't get male friends. No. There is no straight man that wants to be your friend and is not waiting to fuck you. That's the way it goes. You don't get male friends. If you, and again, you're putting this, all the frame here is on the girl. You want monogamy. You want me to do something that is exceptionally risky, exceptionally stupid, and ridiculous. The only way I'd indulge this is if you are willing to go with me here. So, no male friends. No, absolutely not. You're not, you're dead to them. You're not, and the benchmark is blue text. No blue text. I do not want to see blue. So, you know, when you send a text, it's in blue, right? And when they send one, it's in gray. No blue. You're like, and because all the male friends are going to get it. When you stop responding, and when you stop, you know, reinforcing, when you're emotionally unavailable, guys will get that and they'll move on. So you remove the blue text. That's it. No blue text, period. If there's blue text, there will be repercussions, and that will just mean the road. It will mean that you do not want to be held to the standards that you say you want to be held to. You're not willing to make the sacrifices to get what you say you want. No blue text. And as all of us know from being on the other side of that, when a girl's ghosting you, when a girl's like, you do give up eventually. The other thing is, you can actually tell from her social media, like, let's say she's in a relationship with you, and, you know, she's got a lot of pictures up of you guys together. That's another clear example of like, all right, guys, fuck off, right? Now, one of the things to be aware of is if she doesn't have any pictures of you on there, if you're still her dirty little secret, if it seems, you know, and it's a very subtle thing, right? Like you can see, you know, on a girl's page, you know, if you want to, you can kind of intuit like what is she sharing with the world? Everyone's cultivating this very carefully. So what is she cultivating? What is she, you know, because all the betas in waiting. All the or shit. I mean, even all the other alpha guys, all the guys that, you know, she was hooking up with before you, they're just waiting to see like what the vibes are. They're waiting to see. Now, I think the next frame is at a certain point actually saying, so I've never been married, but I think if you're going to get married, I would actually say no social media. I would say, nope. That is the next level of, if you want that exceptional commitment, if you want that exceptional risk, until we die, there is 100% open digital access, and you're off social media. I think very few women would want to do that, and most of the world would say that you are being absolutely ridiculous and paranoid. But that's why. Like, I think some of these things are tactics and tools so that you start to make marriage as much of a discipline, as much of a sacrifice for a woman as it is for you. Another way that you could be vigilant about this isn't like digital monitoring related, but I would even say clothing and dress. Like the further along your LTR, the further along that you're, you know, if she keeps saying, the further you get down the rabbit trail that she wants to keep going with you, well, guess what? That also means, so how come you need to wear Lululemons to the grocery store? How come? What's the purpose of that? Well, that's just how they make clothes. What, do you want me to go naked? That's just what clothes look like now. Oh, really? They make no other clothes that don't show your camel toe while you're shopping for Campbell's. Sorry. You and I both know that's ridiculous. So I want to see a change. And again, this kind of thing where I'm super into you, and you know, I'd be down to look into it. I'm looking into a future together, and this is the next phase of us growing together. that I don't understand why. Basically, Lululemons are for me. If we're gonna go out, if you're gonna go on a run, if you want to really cherish me, Lululemons are for me, and they're only for me. Because if you're gonna put your girl on the spot and you're gonna be reasonable about this, what hypergamy is maximizing your options, but to maximize them, you have to keep them open. So the advertising, this is the makeup, this is the perfume. Okay, so it's one of these things where you're just saying, oh, new perfume, oh, new. Being vigilant and observing these things. Are you being treated as the prize perpetually? And again, the system here is that you're only asking. You actually don't really ask. You just say, all right, so I love you, I care for you, and if you want this next thing, this next step in our relationship to move forward, here's the next thing. It's the Lululemon pants. And what you're seeing is in each step of the road, if she keeps wanting to change for you, keeps wanting to sacrifice, she is continually investing in you. And frankly, she is forgoing her sexual strategy to be with you. If she's doing these things, and if at any point in the line she is not willing to do those, then you've got your answer. You're not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worth putting the pause on hypergamy for. Now, arguably, hypergamy doesn't take a pause, right? But it does through these disciplines. It's the only way to potentially walk a very treacherous path. It's another set of testing. So, all these genes now have different cuts in them, right? Well, how high did the cuts go? Or okay, it's fine, if your knees are cut, right? But some of them have inner thigh distress, where you can see a girl's inner thigh flesh. And if a girl that you're dating is wearing one of those, why would she be doing that? What is the possible purpose, especially if it's not for you? All of these things, naming any of these things, the modern world will call extremely patriarchal, extremely controlling. And you know who would be the worst at accusing you of that? Is all the white knight simps. All the men who would say, what are you doing, bro? Even a lot of your friends will say this. Will accuse you of being a jerk or being controlling, and it's none of their business. Because they are going to be the future casualties, and you're not going to be. You are either going to be with an exceptional woman, or you're going to be alone. That's it. And an exceptional woman is almost certainly not born in today's day and age. And with the hand that this generation of American millennial men is dealt, they are made, if they're made at all. They're trained. And all this stuff is extremely unpopular to say, and you will be labeled like it's one of these things where it's just not safe for especially a man of any amount of ambition to say these things. But at the same time, this is how the world used to be. If you think about that, right? This is how, when monogamy was successful and rewarding for men, it was. You are simply taking all of the steps that you possibly can in your control to fight against the tide of culture and to make monogamy rewarding for you as a man. So in the past, right, in antiquity, even before the sexual revolution, even in the 1950s and before, if a woman wanted attention, she needed to get dolled up and leave the house. That was it. There's no other way to do it. You couldn't take pictures of your ass and have validation from thousands, millions of men around the world. You had to go out, do your absolute best on a Friday or Saturday night, And the pool that you had to draw from was your local pool. Even if you're some member of the New York fashionista elite, you're still only drawing from the pool of people in that city. It's not a global sexual marketplace. So it's simple. If a woman wants a successful monogamy, she needs to be removed from the global sexual marketplace. She needs to choose to do that herself. She needs to choose to do that herself. And that's why these things aren't demands from a man. They are only steps in the process of you saying, I think you're exceptional. I think you have the potential to grow into someone who is exceptional amongst her generation and might be worth a long-term bet on. But if you really care for me and you want to be that exceptional person, here's the next set of disciplines. And just see how it goes. There's an almost 100% likelihood that with any member of this current generation of women, there will be one or multiple links in the chain where this does not go your way. And then you're back to red pill MGTOW world anyways, where you're alone and living for you. I mean, you're doing that even in the course of a relationship too, right? But I'm just saying, like, you're back to just the state of affairs that any red pill man realizes they're in, of, okay, just back out playing the game and, enjoying women for what there is to enjoy about them, but not putting any hopes, dreams, aspirations, romantic ideals, fairy tale endings on any of these situations. So, yeah, that's it. Like, and it also seems like a thing that would need to be maintained pretty vigilantly, because and this is one of the biggest problems with marriage that I don't really see any way around is, let's say you get all these things in order, right? Let's say the Lululemons are just for you and the passwords are available to you and all that, right? Well, once you get married, you still lose your ultimate bargaining chip, so you can't, that still does seem to be the thing that, like, oh, that's the trump card. Once you're married, once you're committed, especially once you got kids, like, and the longer that time passes, the less leverage you have to enact these things. You don't have any more tools in the toolkit. You just, because the gravity of saying, oh, I'll just walk. She's like, okay, cool. I'll take half your shit or more. I'll ruin you and your kids will hate you. Like, so I still think that this is the things that I'm naming are simply ways to control a monogamous frame that is not in a marriage, but still indulging the talk of marriage and indulging the talk of saying, like, well, like, because in theory, if I was with a woman for I don't know, 10 years, and she absolutely did every one of these things and was vigilant about it and completely reasonable, I would consider marriage. If I got a prenup, postnup, and frankly, she's already passed the wall, I would consider it. I believe it would be much less risky at that point. But, you're talking there about, like, to get all these behavioral things in order and to get, and then to be at that age and to have that situation. I believe that that's a fraction of a % chance that would happen. But I believe it's useful, frankly, in dealing with these monogamous relationships. It's to say that, yeah, marriage always could be on the table. It could be. It's not right now. What's on the table right now, and again, you controlling the frame, is saying what's on the table right now is your Instagram story. What's on it right now is the black jeans with the rip in the crotch. That's what's on the table right now. We're not talking about marriage right now. Let's see how marriageable you are after I make these requests. Let's check in a year. Let's check in 2 years. I mean, because we all know that what you'd have on your hands then is you'd have a really exceptional woman. If she did that year after year, continued to grow, continued to have a level head on her shoulders, continued to want to do the things that essentially are you deliberately saying, no hypergamy, back off. No, woman, if you want me, you're doing everything that I request to forgo your hypergamy. Because guess what, boys? If you're going to be a non-philandering monogamist, you already made that choice. You already put aside your sexual strategy. All you're doing here is working backwards and asking her to do the same thing. All of these things that are, quote, patriarchal and chauvinistic are simply men asking women